If you're an intermediate or upper level English learner, you may have problem when to use have and when to use had as the main verb or the auxiliary verb in your sentences. Today, all of your questions will be answered here. So, follow me through this interesting lesson. Have versus had as a main verb. Actually, have and had are different tenses of the verb to have. Have is the present participle and had is the past participle. Therefore, when talking about the present time, we use have. And when talking about the past, we use had. Now, let's review the meanings and usages of the word. The first usage of the word as a main verb is to express ownership. Examples: I have a red car. Simple present tense. They have 2 dogs. I had a red car. Simple past tense. They had 2 dogs. The second usage of the word have as a main verb is to express events, actions, experiences, and activities. We have a break at 10 a.m. I have an exam today. We had a break at 10 a.m. I had an exam yesterday. The third usage of the verb is for eating food and meals. For example, I usually have coffee and croissants for breakfast. They usually have dinner together. We had a wonderful meal in the new restaurant. I had a sandwich before going to the class. Have versus had as an auxiliary verb. First, let's review the meaning and uses of auxiliary verbs. Auxiliary verbs, also known as helping verbs, are minor verbs that support the sentence's main verb to create complex grammatical concepts like aspects of time or modality. The 3 main auxiliary verbs are be, do, and have. However, all 3 of these can also be used separately as action verbs. When you see one of these verbs in a sentence, look for a second verb to determine if it's being used as an action verb or an auxiliary verb. In the following, you are going to learn how and when to use have and its past participle had in different tenses. Well, have as an auxiliary verb is used in 5 conditions: the present perfect simple, the present perfect continuous, the future perfect simple, the future perfect continuous, and perfect modal tenses. As you know, for the third person singular, have is changed to has. Examples for present perfect simple: I have eaten pasta today. She has received the letter this morning. We have accepted their invitation. Our dog has not eaten anything since last night. Present perfect continuous: we have been working all day. I have been learning English for 8 years. My mother has been working as a chef for more than 3 years now. My roommate has been studying since this morning. Future perfect simple: I will have done my homework by the time you arrive. They will have achieved their goal by this time next year. Will you have finished your course by this time next year? I guess she will have done her homework by tomorrow night. Future perfect continuous: They will have been running for 5 hours when the bell rings. She will have been studying mathematics for 20 years when she gets 80. I will have been teaching English for 15 years by next June. We will have been traveling around the world for 3 years by the end of this month. Perfect modals. They are so late. They must have missed the flight. I made a mistake. I should have checked everything before leaving the office. I should have prepared my thesis by now. If she knew, she would have told you. Now, had as an auxiliary verb is used in two conditions, past perfect simple and past perfect continuous. Examples: past perfect simple. She had written the letter before noon. We had arrived home when she called. I had not finished my writing when the time was over. Had he called you before? Past perfect continuous. I had been working all day. They had been shopping all the evening. We had not been wasting time in the game. Had you been studying so hard before? Have had or had had. When using perfect tenses, you may be confused when you see have had and had had in a sentence. Well, there is no need to worry about it anymore. This happens when the verb have is used both as the auxiliary verb and the main verb in a sentence. For example, I have had lunch with my friend. It's present perfect simple. He has had a hamburger. This one is present perfect simple again, but my subject is third person singular. That's why I have used has. If I had had any idea, I would have told you. Past perfect simple. They would have come if they hadn't had a change of heart. Past perfect simple. I hope this lesson has been interesting to you. Visit my page again for more interesting English lessons. Thank you for watching the video. See you soon.